All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. As you see, a two-man show here. Tokyo Brandon's been battling for us all week, but we finally gave him the day off. He is under the weather, as you guys know, if you watched the show the past couple days. But he still finds a way to win. I'm pretty sure he said, "Hey, I feel like death," and I'm basically like, "There's just no way he can be on the show." But I still went 3-1 yesterday. Just the daily occurrence for Tokyo Brandon. So we hope he feels better soon. Maybe we'll have him back tomorrow, but if not, Bryan Leonard and I are here to hold it down. Bryan, I had a night that happens to us as pick sellers sometimes. As you know, we're betters first. As far as I'm concerned, we're betters first, pick sellers second. I hit my 5% play, so everyone's all fired up about it. But I went 1-2 and lost money. So it's one of those nights where, as you're happy that the big one won, but I'm annoyed that I went 1-2 and dropped a couple units. So that's how my Wednesday went. How was Wednesday for you?
We turned a profit. I had my top play was on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that line kept going up all day long. So I put that play up early for clients, and we were able to get even better money if you played a little bit later on. But that was my top play, and then I had Baltimore. So I had two underdogs, split them out, made about 2 units of profit. I'll take it. I'll take it on an everyday basis. Anytime you've got two underdogs and you can split them, that's profit. And especially if the Arizona Diamondback getting that big overlay, like we talked about on the show yesterday. Unfortunately, I used the under 4 in the first 5, and they scored 5, so I lost my
Right at
parlay
the end.
part there. Yeah, so but we thought there was great value on it, and there was, and it ended up winning for us. So what was your 5% just offhand?
Yeah, that's going to be a segue into our first game that we're going to talk
Okay.
about. So
Okay.
I had Giants plus 1.5, and that game was just the Giants season in a nutshell. We talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. They call up Matt Wilkinson to make his major league debut. He has been a starter all year in the minors and at AAA. So why you would call him up, fly his whole family, all his friends out to have him throw 25 pitches and basically be an opener for Adrian Hauser makes legitimately 0 sense to me. Couldn't figure out. And the thing was, as I was watching, so I know you like to watch when you're watching the Guardians, the visiting team broadcast. Now, I was watching the Giants broadcast because that's just what I turned on for the game. And it was definitely planned. It's not like anything happened. There was no injury. There was no, oh, he's struggling, we got to get him out. Like, the Giants just decided that he was going to be an opener for Hauser in that game. Now, they didn't tell anyone. That wasn't like a known thing, but like it was kind of known once the broadcast started that he wasn't going to be in very long. I tweeted, I went to Twitter. I said, you know what? I still like the Giants here. I don't mind Hauser in the bulk role. And it worked out for me. Matt Wilkinson pitched 2 innings. They were solid. He gave clean innings, 1 hit, didn't strike anyone out, but didn't give up a run. And then Adrian Hauser came in and he was actually great. I mean, if we're talking about just trying to win the game standpoint, it worked out really nicely for San Francisco. They end up shutting out the Guardians. I thought that they would find a way to shut down that lineup, and they win 1-0. So that was my 5% play. Thankfully, that one got there. We was always really the right side, especially when you're considering, having the plus 1.5. And now these two teams play today. So that was my lead in for this game because I figured as a Guardians fan, you had talked about it on the show yesterday, being interested to see this kid. Bryan, when you have a team that's as far out as the Giants, like, why would they not just give him the start right there?
Well, I kind of touched on this a little bit. I didn't think it was going to play out this way, but I said if there was any team that knew him, it would be Cleveland because he was just there. He'd been there the whole time. And I said I was a little bit worried about that. And I actually watched the Cleveland broadcast, and they were dumbfounded. They said, I don't know what happened. I didn't see an injury. Why would they come out? He's pitching great. I think their thought process was for San Francisco, if they can get him a couple of innings, get the nervousness over with against a team that knows him very well, we'll go one time through the order and get him out of there. And it seems like that was the reasoning behind it. But the Cleveland broadcast had no idea. They couldn't understand it. They were all excited to see him pitch, and the wife and I were, were on, out of Vegas. We're on vacation, and we had to watch the game because Tugboat was pitching, and then all of a sudden in 2 innings he's gone. So I think that's what they did. They figured they'd get him out of there, and then next time when he pitches, he'll go against a team that doesn't know him. And I would expect him to get back to pitching his normal routine as long as he stays in the rotation. And there's no reason not to, because San Francisco's rotation is not very good. And some of the other guys that they've used lately have been terrible. So, yeah, I think that's what happened. But it's an interesting handicap here because you've got a Cleveland team playing at home with Williams, who had been untouchable until his last time out. He got hit around a little bit, and it's going to happen. You can't be perfect forever. And he was basically perfect. He was setting records for strikeouts and minus walks going over his last 4 or 5 starts. So Landry Rope is a guy I like, but he's just not pitched well lately. Usually these games, it's a day game, and there's going to be a lot of day games today. I would expect the home team that's the better team to come back and win. But do I want to lay, in the 188 range here with a total of 7? I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Getaway days for just about everybody today, other than Atlanta and the White Sox that starting a new series. But, yeah, it's Cleveland should win, and but I don't want to lay this number. So, yeah, maybe San Francisco team total under, something to that effect. Maybe let me get a quick look at what that would be. Team total right now, San Francisco under 2.5. You can get them at basically plus 115, plus 120 out there in that range. Would rather had a 3 out there, but something to keep an eye on here. But yeah, it was interesting watching that game, how the announcers just couldn't figure out what was going on. But it worked out well for San Francisco. It was a great combination, and they pitched very well.
Yeah, like I said, it was absolutely planned because the Giants broadcast called him an opener on multiple occasions. I was like, an opener? I mean, this guy went 7 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings his last 3 AAA starts. But the thing for me, and what was the bigger part of my handicap yesterday than Wilkinson, was the Guardians not doing much offensively. They did nothing. I think very apparent that the Giants are still going to struggle to score runs most of the time, when they're out there. Yeah, they had a series recently against the Rockies that turned into a beer league softball at times, but like against real teams, especially a team like the Guardians who doesn't give much up. And here's the thing, Messick was outstanding. I mean, he gave up one sort of timely hit that allowed the Giants to score the 1 run that was scored in the game. Now they have to fit, it doesn't get any easier here with Gavin Williams. So I'm kind of like, I know this is a lower number, but I still think if you're getting that hook, if you're getting that 7.5, you could think about playing an under here. You might not have 1-0 today, Brian, but it doesn't feel like this is just going to be a ton of runs, because I kind of think Roop could pitch well for the Giants as well.
Yeah, that's the way I would go. You're seeing 7.5, so maybe 122, 125. Yeah, if you can see one of those out there, it's definitely worth it. Just the odd numbers, as we've been taught over the years, are worth a little bit more in the totals than the even, because you can't end up in a tie. Yeah, it's a way to take a look at it. It's a limited card today, and I don't know if I'll have anything big, but if you're looking to play this game, find a way to either fade San Francisco's offense or to play an under in this game.
Yeah, and Hauser doing what he did. I mean, he was excellent. Really, only Devin Smith is probably used from the Giants bullpen. So you talked about it yesterday. The Giants bullpen's still pretty fresh here because you wouldn't have counted Wilkinson into that equation. And then Hauser was he's kind of like your starter anyway. So really the Giants have all their bullpen arms, and the Guardians have most of their bullpen arms. So I think a full game under is how I would go in Giants Guardians. And who knows, maybe we'll switch it up and I'll go total on the parlay, because I haven't been able to win for the parlay the last couple days. So maybe we'll circle back and go with that. Yeah, Brian, I don't have anything else out on the website yet either. Kind of I think 9 games in total on the MLB slate. We'll probably get to 2/3 of them in the hour here. NFL preseason is back. I haven't played anything yet for week 2, but that's absolutely coming. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll have something up for today, and all of the specials are on the Wager Talk site. All right, E. Dolson, this was our feature game until I hijacked the feature game segment to talk about the Giants Guardians. Once I knew it was just Brian and I today, I was like, well, we got to lead off with that because that was my 5%er. He's the Guardians guy. But I had planned on talking about the national TV game in the feature spot. Yeah, that was Tokyo Brandon who gave us a great call on the Nationals yesterday, plus money, 6-0. Easy winner right there for the Nats. And so this game does go tonight, Fox Sports 1, 8 p.m., national TV here in the States. The rubber match of this one, it looks like Andrew Alvarez for the visitors and Jacob deGrom for the home team. So, Brian, Nats, Rangers to you. How do you see this one?
Yeah, that was one of the games that I kind of liked yesterday with the Nationals. And, yeah, it worked out well. Good for you, TB. Yeah, Washington's going today. Let me give you a quick look at the number here. Alvarez, the lefty, against deGrom with Texas. deGrom's about a 157 maybe favorite. 7.5 to the over, minus 115 or so. Washington, yeah, they've lost some guys in the starting lineup, obviously from injury or from trades, and they haven't hit as well. Ortiz has gotten off to a pretty nice start since they brought him up. He's a lefty that plays a little bit of first base. But some of their younger guys are coming through. But overall, they're not the same offense as they were earlier in the season. But the bullpen is in great shape. Beater and Ribalta, which have been their 8th and 9th inning guys, they haven't pitched in 4 days. So you're going to get the Washington bullpen here in pretty good shape. Will Dion, who couldn't stick with the Indians or the Guardians or whatever you prefer, he got picked up by Washington, and he's been pretty good. He's been very good for them lately. He's been turning into like their 7th inning guy. But that tells you the difference between a Cleveland bullpen and a Washington bullpen, that the guy was an afterthought, and he was like the long guy in Cleveland, and now he's the 7th inning guy for Washington. But Alvarez is a guy that we've liked, and the last 14 days he's rated as the 64th best pitcher overall in the season, 140, basically an average major league pitcher. But they're going against, obviously, a team in Texas who is very good at home, and they got deGrom on the mound. And deGrom in his home games has been extremely good, especially in Texas. The only problem is he's coming off of that injury. He missed his start the other day, so I don't know how long he's going to pitch. He's rated as the 30th overall best pitcher in Major League Baseball this year, 63 the last 14 days. From a bullpen standpoint, Jacob Latz is clearly the best arm in this bullpen. He's been great all season long. He's had the last 4 days off. They got Jacob Junis back from the IL. He's pitched three games so far this week, but he's only thrown 24 overall pitches, so I think he'll be good. So both bullpens are in pretty good shape here. I like Texas a little bit more, but once again, do I want to lay this number? Like I said, he's in the 157, 160 range, something like that. And the total is 7.5. It's a good pitching ballpark. If I knew deGrom would go 5 innings, and with the bullpen situations, I would play the Washington team total under. That's currently sitting at 3.5 under, minus 130 or so. That would be the way I would go in this one. I'd like to play Texas, but I don't want to lay that number. So nothing outstanding for me right now. I'm going to use the one play I have sent my clients today earlier. I'm going to give that to you as my best bet on the show today. But I'm still working on the card, and hopefully we'll get something going on for our clients. But as of right now, it's still early in the morning, even though I am on the East Coast. So I'll be looking into the games a little bit more after the show ends.
Yeah, I still think this is a crazy price for the Rangers to be laying. Like this team, I've kind of alluded to it every time they come up. Like I don't know that you can find a more average team in Major League Baseball than the Texas Rangers. they're just a middle of the pack team in every sense of it, just in every sense, and it's reflected their record all year. I don't think they've strayed more than a couple games away from 500 like most of the year. Of course, they come in after the loss last night. They're still 62 and 65. Ryan, if this team finishes 81 and 81 this year, I won't be surprised one bit. You mentioned, yeah, like, you know, here's the thing, like they're $1.60 favorite. Yeah, you got to like DeGrom a little bit. Probably give him a slight edge over Alvarez, but like the Rangers just don't hit consistently enough for me to even consider laying this price with them. And then the Nationals, yes, their lineup definitely took a hit with James Wood injury and some of the trades, but I think, like, to me, Abby Ortiz, oh man, the Rangers, that's got to pain them to see him there. Of course, he was one of the 5 guys that the Rangers traded to get Mackenzie Gore. It's looking like the Nationals, if you follow some of the younger guys, Devin Fitzgerald, a couple of the other younger guys, it looks like the Nats are winning that trade right now. And of course, Abby Ortiz, since getting the call up, a 944 OPS. So I don't think that they've lost anything with Ortiz being in the lineup as opposed to Garcia at this point. If you look at what those two have done since the All-Star break. And for me, like, Brady House, I don't think there was any guarantee that Curtis Mead was going to play as good as he has. So whether it's House or Chaparro's been very good recently as well. Like, that's the thing. I look at this Nationals lineup and I still see bats. CJ Abrams, still very good. 884 OPS. This is still a team that I think hits the ball. So you're going to give me them in this price range again, a plus 145 dog, when you've got Andrew Alvarez, who does have some redeeming qualities. He keeps the ball down. He's going to get ground balls. Like, I'm not going to say he's the better option than DeGrom, but to me, he's serviceable. He can go out, give you 5 good innings. And that's the biggest thing. The point I'll make every time the Nationals come up the rest of the way, Brian, they were winning games the first 3 months of the year in spite of their bullpen. Now they actually have a little bit of a bullpen. And Cavalli was so good again last night that they didn't use anyone. So yeah, Nationals, another nice plus price here, plus 145. That's for the number, it's a very good bet. Could the Rangers win this game if DeGrom pitches well and they get the ball to Latz? Do they win? Probably, but there's not a chance that I would lay minus 160 to find that out.
I understand that.
All right, let's hop back in. Let's see. Yeah, it's people are nine games is a decent slate, but I don't know. Here's the difference. When we say there's a smaller slate with 9 games, it's the difference between 9 and 15 in terms of like finding edges is a big deal in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If it's like an 8 or 9 game slate, I feel like the books sort of nail it. I think that's kind of what they've done today. Whereas if you have 15, you're usually going to be able to find one that's real value, and that's why I haven't put up a play yet, because they just haven't. I want to see some stuff move a little bit, maybe some lineups start to pop. Brian, I want to go back to. I feel like you got a little bit of a raw deal last night on the Orioles. That ball, I was not watching that game intently, but everything I saw that looked like a home run that was not given to Alonso. It looks like people were upset about that. The Orioles, they kind of came into this series with the Yankees maybe peaking a little bit, right? They come in, they take 3 or 4 from the Rays over the weekend. That's met to where they were in the pecking order going into last weekend, to go to the Trop and take 3 or 4 from the Rays was just absolutely massive for their season. But since then they've come home and they're in danger right now, Brian, of basically giving that back. If they lose here and get swept by the Yankees at home, they've essentially given the good they did over the weekend in Tampa Bay back. And it's, they haven't, in my opinion, they haven't played poorly enough to like get swept in this series. Like I said, I think they were, 3-1 on a couple of runs scored late on Tuesday to lose that game. And then yesterday's game, a 5-3 game where the Yankees score in the 8th inning again, and maybe a ball should have been a home run that wasn't. So I'm tempted to bet the Orioles to avoid a sweep here. I'm interested to see how you see this one, Orioles Yankees.
Yeah, very similar. The Yankees are looking at about a 120 favorite here with Garrett Cole against Bradish. Total, I see a couple 7.5s to the over, but mostly they're 8s to the under. Yeah, I'm looking at it the same way. If you grade these teams out right now, obviously the Yankees are getting some reinforcements coming back, but not for a few more days. But they're a team that I have slightly better than Baltimore. And from a pitching standpoint, Cole, he's not the typical Garrett Cole, but I've been pretty impressed by the way he's pitched coming off of his long layoff. He's been very good in my opinion. I thought he was going to struggle coming back that long after being injured, and of his age, obviously he's an older gentleman. But Bradish is a guy who can throw a shutout at any time, but he's can also get hit. I think both starters in this game will have some success, so I'm kind of leaning with the under 8 at minus 115 or so right now. Baltimore, by the way, Baltimore's closer the last few years which has been so great. They didn't think he was going to pitch at all this year, and now he may be back on the team. So he'll get some action before the end of the season. So that really strengthens this Baltimore bullpen. But right now, I'm leaning with Baltimore a little bit, and I'm somewhat leaning with the under. Maybe I play the Yankees team total under. Let me see what that is right now. Yankees team total 4.5, but you got to lay about 140 to play the under. That may be a little bit too juiced for me. But still, to see them score 5 runs here in a game that's scheduled to only score 8, it doesn't happen very often, but you're paying the juice for it. So I like the under better than anything here. The under 8 at minus 115 or so. I just think both these guys are quality starters. Last game of the series. Love to play Baltimore to stop the sweep, but can't quite get there. So maybe the under 8 in this one. I like you had mentioned, it's early in the morning, and a lot of these lines, sometimes a game will jump out at me. Yesterday, Arizona's did, obviously. But there's only been a couple games that I've actually said, you know what, these are something I'm interested in. But there's a lot of other ones that if a 10-cent line move could change it. So it's still very early in the day.
Yeah, for me, baseball, I rarely. I mean, some of my bets go in early if I'm trying to lock something in, or like, but a lot of times, I'll see a lineup, I'll bet something will move, I'll play back against it. I will say that I'm going to use the Orioles for the parlay here. I'm looking at the last 2 days. Yankees have used a considerable amount of bullpen. I think that evens up the end of the game. Normally, I think the Yankees have the bullpen advantage. But when you consider the Orioles have been behind 3 days in a row, they really have pretty much any leverage guy they want is available here. Yankees, Carlos Rodon came back, and that was always going to be a shorter outing for him. So on Tuesday, it was De Los Santos, Hedrick, Cruz, Blackburn, Bednar. The Yankees used 5 relievers. Yesterday, Will Warren only lasted 4 innings. So the Yankees had to go Hill, Cruz, Hedrick, Blackburn, Bednar. 4 of those guys are back-to-back guys, right? So you're looking at Cruz, Hedrick, Blackburn, and Bednar all have pitched both games of this series so far. That's a good amount of usage right there. I'm not saying that the Yankees don't have arms that can compensate for that. But that to me is a little bit concerning if this were to get in a big spot where they need big time leverage outs at the end of the game. And suddenly you're looking at either having to go to someone that's not who you normally would go to in that spot, or having to go to someone for a 3rd straight day in a row. So I actually think, and I'm a Kyle Bradish guy. I've been high on him. I was high on him earlier in the year when he wasn't pitching as well. And, while Cole has been solid, I don't think I would. I think I'd still rather have Bradish over Cole. I think, excuse me. I think Bradish still right now has a little bit more upside over Cole in terms of what he can be at his peak, where Cole, you're saying, I didn't think he was going to be this good when he came back this year. So yeah, give me the Orioles here. Is that still plus money? Is the Orioles still plus money right now?
Right now you can get Baltimore at plus 112 or so.
Yeah, I make them closer to a pick. So, it's a two-teamer today. Let's get a dog in there. I like the Orioles. That's going to be my parlay late.
Okay. Let me, this is a nighttime game. Let me go with my parlay
Yeah, go ahead.
in reward to people that tuned in early. It's a day game. I'm looking at St. Louis and Cincinnati, McGreevy against Singer. It's basically St. Louis is basically about a 108 favorite, and the total is 9 to the under here. I like Cincinnati. If you take a look at Brady Singer, when he's not pitching at night, he's much better in the day. As a home underdog in day games, he's won 16 straight times. The Reds have won 16 straight when he's a starter at home. And it's not just with the Reds. You go back and look at him in his past teams he's played for. He's been much better when he's not pitching at night. And you talked about the bullpen situation in New York. Take a look at the bullpen situation in St. Louis in this one. Keep in mind, this is the 5th game of this series. They had to play a doubleheader the other day. So they're tied up 2-2. It's the last game of the series. Both teams are traveling. And so you may see a lot of quick swings to get out of town in this one. But take a look at the bullpen situation for Washington. Since Monday, they've really had to use a lot of bullpen. Riley O'Brien pitched on Monday and Tuesday. They gave him yesterday off. Same with Serrano. Same with Stanek. Brule pitched 29 pitches yesterday. He also pitched on Monday. And so basically, the only guys in the bullpen that are really fresh is Caleb Ferguson, who came over from a trade with Cincinnati of all teams, and Peter Zaleski, who is basically a long reliever through 46 pitches on Monday. They probably won't use him at all today. So the situation from the bullpen is in really bad shape for St. Louis because they're not, other than Riley O'Brien, who continues to be great. He's the number 7th rated pitcher on the season, number 1 in the last 2 weeks. He's been very good, but this would be his 3rd game in 4 days. They usually don't try to do that, but if they have to, they will. But he's a 1-inning pitcher. He doesn't go any longer than 1 inning. So you're going to have to get a really good outing out of McGreevy, and we've seen it. McGreevy's been very good. But from a bullpen standpoint, I think Cincinnati's bullpen is stronger. Cincinnati's bullpen is in better shape here. And with the way Singer pitches at home, to get them at plus money, I gave this out as we're speaking. It's now going away. I knew it would. There are a few people out there that bet for a living that do watch the show. But I gave this to clients at plus money. Now they're like minus 102. But still, that's a home underdog. And plus, even if you disregard the home underdog spot, I like Cincinnati in this game. So I'm going to play Cincinnati. If I waited till the end of the show, we may not be getting a plus anywhere. But there's still, you still get plus 100 out there right now. And I think I say a plus 102 at one of them. So, yeah, either way, as long as Cincinnati's not laying 120, I still think it's a good bet. So I've got this up to 118. So give me Cincinnati. That'll be my part of the parlay here. I do like the situation there. And because of the bullpens, especially for St. Louis, has got so worn out the last few days. From a starting standpoint, I think McGreevy's slightly better than Singer. But Singer at home is a better deal for me. And, I prefer the Rays bats over St. Louis right now. So give me Cincinnati at a really cheap number for playing at home.
Yeah, I can't. That's fine with me. I don't really. Neither of these pitchers were someone I was dying to back right now. This is going to be the 5th game of this series, right? Yes. These two teams played a doubleheader on Monday, and then this will be the 5th game of the series because it was a 4-game and they added the makeup on Monday. So you're talking about, as you made a very good point, Cardinals have used a ton of bullpen. Reds, they've used bullpen as well, but even if they haven't, I don't really care for the Reds bullpen. It's a bottom 10. You could almost argue a bottom 5 unit in the league. You are now getting this is the 5th game of seeing the same guys for both sides, except for the starters. If you are a baseball savant guy, and you pull up Singer and McGreevy, you're going to see a lot of blue on both of their pages. Now, I think to your point, like I think when you look at that, McGreevy, I don't worry about as much because I really do like. I've been watching him since his time in Memphis. That he knows how to get guys out. Like he maybe doesn't have like the craziest stuff, and he's not going to strike a ton of guys out, but like there's a lot going on up in there when he's pitching. Like he's probably one of the only like truly young guys right now that I think really understands the art of pitching. You don't get that these days. It's not like it used to be. A lot of throwers, a lot of guys just up there throwing now. McGreevy understands how to pitch. But even with that being said, like this is a game where I think you're talking about a total of 9 flat, which is right about where I am on my projection. But I think the situation, I'd roll the dice with it being more than 9 runs. You had a 5-4 game last night, a 6-5 game a couple days ago. Like you're probably getting another close game in that 4-4, 3, like 5. Yeah, like, again, this feels like another one of those games. 5-4, 6-5, something like that. I think over 9 makes a ton of sense because I don't like either starter. And you're probably not getting, a super strong bullpen effort from either team here. So over is the way I would go here, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not a prop kind of guy, but if I'm the manager of either one of these teams, I would be reluctant to pull the starter because of all the usage they've had in the bullpens, and they all got to travel and play again tomorrow. So if you can get the outs props with each of these guys, or maybe the strikeout props, neither one is a great strikeout pitcher, but still, those would be the ones I think have a little bit of value in this one because I think we're going to get at least 5 innings out of both of these starters, and you can't always say that. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they both go 6. So, maybe a different way to play it. When we've got less games, you have to expand your opportunities, which is why I've been talking about team totals and things like that. Many different ways to attack it. We'll get out of it. Yeah.
And I think, listen, if I agree with that completely, I definitely think both teams, I don't think either manager is going to be like dying to go out there and have a quick hook on their starter.
Right.
But also, just to go back to, I guess, one more point for the over, give me any, like, I don't necessarily really want Singer or McGreevy going a third time through the order. Like, there's probably some runs in there. Like, that's where I'm saying, like, you could theoretically get a quality start from both and still be in like a 4-3 game in the 8th inning where it's like you get one more run and you're free rolling on a total of 9. So again, I like the over, but I can see where you're going with the Reds, especially when they were a dog. That definitely makes sense. When the Reds were an underdog, obviously very appealing there. It should be a competitive game nonetheless. All right. Yeah, Steve, this is a good point. Cincinnati Small Park, the Great American Small Park, of course, hasn't been as home run friendly, but the Reds can't hit. That's probably part of it, right? It's less home run friendly when you have a team that's like dead last in the league on WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So it's like some of it has to do with the team that's playing there on a nightly basis. I still think there's probably runs in that park, you know what? If Joshua Baez is in the lineup today, he's going to hit one. He's hitting a bomb today if he's in the lineup. Guys,
he'll be there. They gave him yesterday off to clear his mind a little bit. Why bring him up if you're not going to start him every day? There was just he hadn't hit anything since that first day, and he's in pitching again. Or going against not an elite pitcher. Yeah, I expect him to be in the lineup.
There's your prop for today. Anytime home run Joshua Baez, because here's the other thing too. Like on his little 0 run, like 4 of those outs were 100+ mile an hour exit velo outs.
Yes.
So yeah, don't let him run into one.
I believe in the last week, as for the hard hit, he's like the second in baseball at hard hit percentage. So he's still hitting the ball hard. He's just not finding spots. So yeah, I can agree with that. I'm not a home run guy. In fact, TB tells you not to bet him. But if you want a little bit of an action, I could see that.
Yeah, that's and I've watched him do it all year in the minors. Like he'll have a 3 home run game, go quiet for a couple games, come out and hit 4. Like he actually had a 4 home run game at Memphis earlier this year, just to incredible talent. I think he's going to be a great power hitter for them in the middle of that lineup. And I think he instantly makes that team better because you can even tell like pitchers already in this series have not really wanted to throw him much. So part of his struggles have to do with like they're pitching him carefully, much more careful than like a guy that just got called up typically gets pitched. Colin, we can talk about.
And the minors, they're there to enhance the value of the players. They're not interested in as much in winning the games. They'd love to win the games, but they're teaching. In the majors, you have to win the game. So it's a little bit different. Yes.
All right. Maybe a developmental league game here, Brian. We have the Royals and the A's. This is a major league game, but it may have a minor league feel. Of course, neither of these teams playing for much. It's really about getting reps and getting some different guys in. I think you're going to see a slew of like some of these younger guys at Omaha are going to start to leak into this Kansas City lineup soon. Kansas City's moved a couple of their good AA guys up to AAA recently. The A's, it's like a revolving door. Vegas, you're there for a few minutes, you're good, and then you're on the big league club, and then you're usually hurt. So that's how it's gone for the A's. You've got Gage Jump against the fountain of youth. Newest fountain of youth finder, if you will, Randy Dobnak, who has looked as good as guy's been a journeyman in AAA for most of his career, and suddenly he looks as good as he's done at any point in his career. So this one's out in Kansas City. A's, Royals. Colin Gregory wants to know, is there any way we can find a play in this game?
Yeah, Jump the lefty against Dobnak the righty. We're looking at Kansas City about a 135 favorite, and total 8 to the over, 8.5 to the under. Sometimes something just clicks with somebody, and maybe that's what's happened to Dobnak. He's coming over to Kansas City, different coaching staff. People take a different look at you. We've seen it in many places: Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh in the past decades, where they're good coaching staffs. Now, unfortunately, I never thought the Kansas City coaching staff was that great, but maybe it was just one tweak. Maybe they just said, "Hey, I don't like that you're throwing this. This is your best pitch. Throw this more often." Something like that. So, but he's been very good, no doubt about it. I've been able to make some good money on him so far because, as you mentioned, he was a 4A player, considered a 4A player, and he's done very well. Gage Jump came out of the gates as the lefty, like those lefties coming out when nobody knows anything about him. Pitched very well, and then he had a few starts where he slumped, but he seems to be. His last time out, he was pretty good, if I remember offhand. We're getting a total of 8.5 here, which is a little bit high if you're looking at what these guys have done so far this season. But 8.5. Kansas City is more of a hitter's ballpark. Obviously, they moved the fences in a little bit this year than in the past. From a bullpen standpoint, I don't want that A's bullpen in the game. I'll tell you that. They just have not done well. Kansas City's had their ups and downs. Maybe they found a closer now. Cruz has been pretty good for them. But, this is a game, unfortunately, that I tried to find something on. Do you really want to play the A's as bad as they have been at a lesser number? Because you're only getting it some places like 120 or whatever. I'm even seeing a 115. I sure as hell don't want to play them at 115 here, but do you trust Kansas City to lay this number? I don't know. This is a game that I haven't really got involved in, and I really don't think I will.
Brian, I wish if you go back, we did a show. The very first. It was the day I think before the season started, where we threw out some predictions, answered some questions. I remember. Again, I'll have to go back and find it, but I said the A's would have the worst pitching staff top to bottom in Major League Baseball, and they do now. Like that has come to fruition. If going into today, the A's have a team ERA this year of 5.52. It is the worst mark in the league, and it is mostly the bullpen and then like some of the back end guys. Gage Jump gets a pass. Gage Jump's been very solid. And so, I think that's the point you're trying to make is man, I'd love to find a way to play him here. I just don't think playing the A's on the money line is the way to do it because you have to count on the A's to hit, but their lineup's super injured and they haven't had all their horses in that lineup for a while. You have to count on the A's to get probably the final 9 outs of the game with God knows whoever Mark Kotze is going to trot out there. So I think this would be a scenario where I'd be looking at Gage Jump props. Like I think he's going to mow this lineup down. He is, he's a guy that, like, when he's gotten against some of the more patient teams, and this is something I saw him do at Vegas quite a bit. He's a little bit of a nibbler at times where, he just doesn't always fully trust his stuff. He wants to, pick off corners, and that's probably good at the big league level that he's doing that a little bit. I never understood why he felt the need to do that in AAA. I always felt like his stuff far exceeded the average AAA hitter, but he'd get himself in trouble with walks and running high counts and stuff like that. Last time out, I thought the Rangers had a very good game plan for him. He wasn't able to generate the swing and miss he typically does in his last start. But guess what? The Royals, not the same lineup. This is not a disciplined hitting team. They've actually been sort of atrocious the majority of this year. I kind of think Gage Jump comes out and has a great game here. The A's might not win, but I think he's going to have a great game.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, with Gage Jump, his road ERA is 2.6. His home ERA is 6.02. When you're looking at pitching staffs overall and teams overall, they're hitting, I would throw out everything from their home games and only use the road games because it's more. If you're a Colorado pitcher and you're using the road games, obviously you're not going to be able to count the games in Colorado. For the A's, you're not going to be able to count the games in Oakland, Sacramento, Vegas, wherever they happen to be that year. But it gives you more of a situation on the road, and then you can get the road numbers, and then you can compare them to what they're playing for at home and away. But he's got that 2.60 ERA on the road, and he's been very good in that regard. The Royals have not seen him all season long, so that's another advantage for him here. He's been much better on the road, and you've got to take that into account when you're looking at the Colorado pitchers. I talk about Seattle just being the opposite. The hitters do better and the pitchers do worse on the road. But if you start off with the road numbers and then vary based on the 3 or 4 hitters parks or the 2 or 3 pitchers parks, you can get a better idea how good these guys are. But it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out and pitches pretty well. And let me just get a quick look at, since you mentioned it, the Kansas City team total. It's sitting there at 4, or 4.
Wow.
You can get 4.5 at
4.5.
140. So do they score 5 runs off of the A's? Well, they could off of the bullpen. I don't know. What about the first 5?
I was going to say first 5.
First 5 is the total is set at 4.5 overall. Let me go team total. First 5. We're looking at Kansas City under 2.5 at minus 140. So will they score 3 runs in 5 innings against Jump? Probably not, but you're laying a little bit of juice.
Outside of Bobby Witt and Jack Caglione, this lineup sucks. This Royals lineup sucks.
They just got 2 guys back, though. 2 key bats back in the lineup. They were hurt.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, was it Garcia and Vinny? Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you want Pasquantino or Cags against Gage Jump? That's not great matchups for either of those guys left on left. So it's I would here's again, I'm going way off it's a shorter board. I'm giving out home run props. I'm giving out strikeout ladders. This is not my usual style. I would ladder Gage Jump's strikeouts. I think he's going to just mow this. I think he's going to be some swing and miss here because remember, you're talking about some of the better players in this Royals lineup. Caglione will probably play. If Vinny's in there, that's a couple lefties. Outside of Bobby Witt, there's just no one I really love in this lineup. And Gage Jump, remember, when he's on 2 starts ago against the Red Sox, 11 strikeouts. Against the Rangers, a team that's a little bit more scrappy, that's trying to, it's really probably more of a contact type hitting team. They just didn't strike out as much. They were taking pitches. They drew 4 walks, and they made it more difficult for him to get swing and miss. But Gage Jump throws 97. He's in the top 30% of major league pitchers this year in in strikeout percentage, like I think he has a day. And like you said, it's definitely more of a pitcher's park than he's accustomed to pitching in. Maybe that helps him out a little bit. Probably trust his stuff a little more, knowing that a fly ball is not likely to leave the yard like it does in his home ballpark sometimes. So yeah, give me all the Gage jump props here. I think he has a good game. All right, we can get one more in here. We got time for one more. I'm headed back to the chat. Let's see. Gonna go the first one I see in the chat. We've hit, like I said, we're gonna end up hitting 6 of the 9 games. So they want to talk Braves. Yeah, I was surprised that the Braves, man, they've been underwhelmed. Like Tokyo Brandon's right. Like very underwhelming this week. And like I kept thinking that, they're just gonna kind of take over and win this game yesterday. It was a close game throughout, and it's just like, man, they really just, to kind of roll over. They take the lead, and then they give it, they take the lead in, I think it was like the 6th, or maybe tie the game up, and I'm like, oh yeah, they tied it up, and I'm like, okay, this is where the Braves just kind of get it done. They're clearly the better team, and like to go out and just lose another one and get swept by the Twins, kind of surprising to me. I just like. Going into that series, Brian, not in a million years did I think the Braves would get swept up in Minnesota. They've now lost 5 of 6. Maybe an element of, these games are just not super meaningful games to them yet at this point because of their 74-53 record. But it's like, I don't know. That was just such uninspiring play. And now they've got this makeup game today. So this is not exactly the greatest spot in the world for them. They've got to go from Minnesota down to Chicago to play the White Sox in a one-off makeup before they go for what's kind of a big series just from potential playoff preview type series, Brewers, Braves over the weekend. How do you look at a spot like this? Braves in a one-off this afternoon at Rate Field against the White Sox.
Yeah, if the Braves had been playing better and winning some of these games, I would have wanted to fade them here. But they are desperate. And they're not playing well. And you mentioned the series coming up. That clearly takes precedence. The White Sox, Taylor's their best pitcher out of the bullpen. He's probably not going to pitch in this one. They did bring up Smith, and he's been pitching more out of longer relief, but he's a quality arm. So the bullpen is looking a little bit better in Chicago than it has been in the past. But still, some of these guys have had a lot of usage lately. I prefer the Atlanta bullpen in that regard. Holmes is a guy you're never going to get people to line up with Holmes on the mound, but he's a quality. He's given them quality innings. Anthony Kay, the lefty, going for the White Sox. We're looking at basically it's a pick'em situation for the most part. 8.5 to the over slightly in this one. I would have preferred Atlanta coming in here, and then we could have faded, but we wouldn't be getting this line at that point. So it's regardless, it's just something you kind of look for these things to come up, and if they don't come up, hey, what can you do? It's just one more game you got to pass on, and that's unfortunately the way I'm going to have to look at this one. Is I think the line is correct in this one. The Braves will not overlook the game because of the streak they've been on, and Chicago, hey, young team. I was out the other day, and taking an Uber down here, and the guy I was in the Uber car with, huge baseball fan. He knew everything about baseball. We had a nice long conversation, and he says, "I didn't even know the White Sox were in first place." I says, "Yeah, they're really good." And he goes, "I guess it just slipped my mind. I just didn't think anything of it." And I says, "Yeah, it slipped a lot of people's mind because we've been able to make good money on the White Sox this year." So if a guy who lives and dies by baseball had no idea the White Sox are there, can you imagine the general public? They go, "What? They're winning the division? What?" Yeah. So there's going to be value on those kind of teams. Unfortunately, I just don't see it in this one. I think the line is right.
I agree with you. I thought the line was correct as well. The problem for me here is I don't see how the Braves get up for this game. I understand that they've lost 5 of 6. You're not playing well. You just got swept in Minnesota. Like, how are you getting up for like this afternoon game against the White Sox? Like, yes, I get it. Like they've been losing a little bit, but it's very they're very like Dodgers-esque right now, where it's like, yes, they've lost, like with the Dodgers like a week ago or so, where it was like, oh, they're clearly going to get up for the Cubs series. No, they got swept, right? They're clearly going to get up for the next game, and they would lose that game. And it's like, unfortunately, they're running into a team here that is very hungry. They're trying to hold off teams in a division race. They had lost two, but get the 3-0 win last night. So it's like, I just feel like there's probably more juice in the White Sox than there is in the Braves right here. If the Braves didn't have such a history of winning and have such a lead, I mean, granted, their lead is starting to fade a little bit. The Phillies are not that far behind them. But to me, it's like, this was, in the grand scheme of things, supposed to be the off day. I think the Braves could have really benefited from an off, like, reset day here. I just don't know that you get this like home run effort from them just because they've lost 5 of 6, because of still where they are in the pecking order, in the standings. I don't think they're like questioning themselves as like one of the top teams at this point. So it's like, you on the road again, it might be different if it was a home game for them. But like this, just I don't love the spot at all here for the Braves. That being said, I'm with you, Brian. It definitely feels like kind of a coin flip. I think it's priced accordingly. If the Braves were suddenly to take like quite a bit of money, I may look at playing back at it if the White Sox were like a legitimate dog. Because again, I still like the White Sox. I like them at home. I like them when something good happens. So it's like, they're still young. They get a nice win like they had 3-0 last night against the Cubs. I think they maybe can roll with that a little bit here. And I've liked Anthony Kay pretty much all season more than the market. I think I'd go as far as to say I prefer Kay over Grant Holmes. I mean, it's close. It's very close. Those two starters, very close. Numbers are almost identical, actually, when you look at Holmes versus against Anthony Kay. So yeah, I'm with you. That's a tricky one. I find it hard to like really say with confidence that I would take one side or the other right there. Mr. Big Hands, real quick. Let me just pull it up real quick. He's always in here asking for a AAA play. I need to see lineups. I'm going to see, but the last 2 times he's asked, I've thrown out an opinion, and it's one. So I'll give you one right now. I think Oklahoma City is going to be worth a look in AAA tonight. You have Gavin Stone has been back. He's been rehabbing for the Dodgers, one of their 15 starters that they just sit on, and you have no idea that they have. And then it's like someone gets hurt, they need a starter. Oh, we've had a big league ready starter just chilling. This will be his 3rd start since coming back. So he's missed most of the season with a shoulder injury, shoulder inflammation. It's kept him out almost the entire year. This will be his 3rd start back at AAA. I think he probably goes 4 or 5 here. I think that this is probably the first time they actually let him pitch. And so far in the first 2 rehab outings, dominant. Small sample, but dominant. And Oklahoma City, Ryan Ward is back down there now, so they have a very good lineup. So there you go. Oklahoma City Comets, little AAA play that I'll probably be on as well. I'll be looking to be on it. If I get the lineup that I want, of course, I need to see those lineups. And you can get all those plays if you're on any all access baseball package. If you're on the double play, so if you get the double play, myself and Brian, myself and Tokyo Brandon, obviously you can get it with Brian and TB as well. That's all access baseball, so you'll get all those AAA plays in there as well. Can't bet AAA everywhere, but it's out there. You got to do a little bit of work. Actually, Brian, I envy you very much right now. One of the best books to bet AAA at is Hard Rock. I tore it up on when I was down in Florida. They take big limits on AAA. Don't tell that. I don't want them to hear this, but like they're taking too big of limits on AAA. So if you're in Florida or Hard Rock State, look there. If not, Bet Online is a book that we've used forever here with WagerTalk. I think we have a good relationship with them. They offer it as well. It's another good place to bet it. Brian, any closing thoughts before we head out for the day?
Yeah, I've talked in the past about Hard Rock. If you're able to get an account there, you want to do it. I'm heading to Dayton I'm going to spend a few days with Ralph Michaels, my buddy over there. And I was hoping to catch a Dayton minor league game, but they're going to be playing in Tampa Bay. So I was trying to effort to pull a trig and come up with some strange hat on tomorrow's show.
Oh,
but unfortunately, they're on the road.
I mean, you could. The Clippers are home. They're not that far from there. Columbus Clippers are home all week. They're actually playing a doubleheader today because they got rained out yesterday. So they're going to be playing all day in Columbus today.
I'm in Florida though.
Oh, Daytona. Oh, yeah. That's right. You have the whole. Daytona. Oh, you have a million options. You got the whole Florida State League down there. That's a great place to be for minor league baseball. Like a whole league that's pretty much just in Florida. So I'm confident you could find one if you want to, Brian. There's a lot of good ones.
I've get Mr. Yerfy Nerfy to which he's like second in the last month in profit just playing Yerfys and Nerfies. Hats off to my buddy.
Yeah,
he's done great.
He's found a niche, and that is the riches are in the niches, Brian. That's what they say. That's what they say. He's found a market that people are not either beating or have not found a way to attack. He's attacking it. It's a smaller market. It does not surprise me at all that he is doing as well as he's doing. So yeah, if you're looking for a quick crackhead way to bet sports, go get on a 1 inning 6 out Yerfy or Nerfy, because that is just you're locked in for 6 outs. Like it is. I don't know if I can handle that on a day-to-day basis.
Well, at least you got the rest of the day to party if you're a partier, I guess.
Oh, that is good stuff. Freebird. Oh, what an avatar change for Freebird, coming in with the old Devil Rays logo. Absolutely love that. It's an all-time logo right there. All-time color scheme. Durham. One more AAA thought. The Durham Bulls have brought back that jersey, the exact Devil Rays jersey, except it says Durham Bulls. I actually think they wear it on Thursdays at home. Phenomenal jersey. Cool. At any rate, parlay of the day, Brian. We got 2 underdogs. I guess one's going to be a slight favorite depending on what price you get the Reds at. But Brian and I are trying to hit a little 2-teamer to put us back in the plus. We're going Reds on the money line for Brian, Orioles on the money line for Trig. Hope Tokyo Brandon feels better and he's back with us soon. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow with another show. Check out the WagerTalk website for all the great specials, and we will see you guys in the morning.